In today's video, we are going to discuss the draw patterns, uh, the perpetual check and stalemate. As you people already know, but I am going to let you people understand these draw patterns from the advanced games. The first is a simple one. I am going to show you an example. Sorry. This is the pattern of the perpetual check. This is a situation where actually the player can force a draw by unending series of checks. So we come to our first example. We have an example in front of us. Here we may see that actually black is threatening to play the move like rook to e1 and wants to make the queen. And then white would have to force to take the rook. And in fact, at present, if we look at this position, white is completely lost, but he has a resource to draw. Do you remember this draw pattern? That you give the continuous preferential check over here by the queen, and there is no way that black king can't escape from this type of check. So now pause the video and think that how you can bring your queen over here to at this stage h5. You may see that you are facing a problem that the rook is on e2. How to divert this rook? Pause and think that how you can divert this rook on e2. I hope you have understood. And the beautiful move is rook to f2. Now, whether black is forced to take the rook, and if it takes, your queen can just reach over here. And this is continuously perpetual check. And if black does not, if black does move the rook to anywhere else, for example, to over here, then his pawn falls. So he takes the rook. Now, this is the check. King moves, you give the check, and this check is never ending. By the time you repeat the same position roundabout for 3 times, it is a draw. So from over here you have understood that you may see in a position, a lost position, that is there any resource pending which can draw a game. We move to our next example. If you look at this position, white has 2 rooks, although one of the rook is being threatened by the rook. Threatened by the bishop. And white has a queen which is coming over here to give the check. And this rook, white's rook, is threatening to take this pawn over here. Now I want you people to pause the video and think that if you take this rook over here, are you sure you are going to win the game? Because the problem is that if you take it and white takes it back with this pawn would be hanging. Then white can take it, this pawn, it can take this pawn might be falling. Here check, this pawn is going to fall. So the only resource in this position, if black has, is to draw the game. And how black can play and draw the game? Pause and think. At present, black is lost at present. But there is a resource that black can draw this game. Pause and think. I hope you have understood the idea that if your knight continuously gives the check like this, and this rook over here on g3 is continuously pinned, then it would be a draw. But how to make it possible? And the move was queen into pawn check. When the king takes, now this rook is pinned to this bishop. So you may give the check. King moves forward. As this pawn is controlling the square over here, the king would have to move back. So check. King has to move back. This square is being checked, and this is never ending checks. Now, from this position, you have understood that how even in a lost position you can understand how can use your knowledge to draw a lost endgame. So we move to our next example. We have this position in front of us. White's bishop at present is pinned down and being threatened by knight and black's rook over here. And at present it seems like that white is losing. And in fact he is losing. The reason behind is that black has this extra pawn and his knight is very well placed. This pawn would have no protection over here. So I want you people to pause the video and think of a way that, as it seems that white's position is lost, but he still has a resource to make the game draw. I hope you have understood. And the move was bishop into pawn. The reason behind is that after rook into rook, have you calculated the whole? Because taking the rook back can wait. How to use actually the light square bishop over the king? If you give the bishop check over here continuously, white is already controlling this diagonal, and there would be no way that black can escape these checks. So the move is bishop over here, and black saves his rook. But now what happens? You give the check, never ending checks, and the bishop pair is actually a dangerous couple. From over here you have understood that your bishop was completely threatened, and you saw that your position is being lost, but you understood to take this pawn, then bring the bishop over here and give the checks continuously like this, the never ending checks. So always try to see for these resources in a worst position or a lost position. Our next example is the stalemate, and we are going to check the stalemate. It is a best example to show you that what is a stalemate, as queen is controlling all these squares and king has nothing to move to, and it is a draw. So we come to our main example in this position, and in this position actually it is white to play. And if you look at that, black has these two extra pawns, and this square over here is being covered by this queen, and it would be a matter of time that black can just forward these pawns and make queen out of them. And if you look at the position, white does not has the perpetual checks for this king. His king is very much safe. Now I want you people to pause the video and think that how you can achieve stalemate in this position. It is a dead lost position for white, but he has the resource of drawing the game. I hope you have understood the idea, and that was queen to f4 check, because now it is the only option for black is to take the queen. because white queen is giving the check to the king, and black must take the queen. And now you see that there is nothing for the white king to move to. There is no way, and it is a draw. So we move to our next example. Yes, it is. In this position, if you look at, white has an extra pawn, and its bishop is very dangerous. It is controlling this diagonal. White is threatening to give the check over here, might be over here, and black's king is at present in the cage of these white species. So I want you people to pause the video and look for the option of a draw, because at one instance it just seems that white is completely winning over here. Black would have to do some effort, but there is just effort. Black is going to just lose the game, but he has a resource of trying this game. And how is that possible? I hope you have seen it. The move is knight to g2 check, and after bishop takes, oh sorry, my net is creating problem, and after bishop takes, for them, sorry, my knight is just giving me the problem. After bishop takes, you are going to give the check over here, and this bishop will be controlling these two squares, and black would have, oh sorry, white would have to take the queen, and after white queens take it, either way, by the queen or by the king, the black king would have no square to move to, and it would be a stalemate. So this was the end for today's video. There was one more example, but my net is not working properly, so I would end this lecture over here. But from this these games actually are these examples, you have understood that you still have a resource in a lost position or worst position to go for perpetual check or stalemate. So I hope you enjoyed my video. If you like it, kindly subscribe and hit the bell icon button. Hit the like button. Sorry, like button also. Thank you very much.